Hi, everybody. This is Mike Andrew, once again back talking about some relevant or practical insights as it applies to leadership and business, and also concepts from one of my two books. Today, I want to talk about the notion of talent. We hear that bantered about quite a bit inside companies. And usually, when we talk about talent, we're talking about those with high potential, which is really about 1% of the company. High potentials, where I've worked in different places, constitute about 1% of the company. And I like to break out high potential two ways: those with high potential into leadership and high potential into the expert track. My company does that. And that's important. If you're a digital technology engineering company, you can't always have all leaders. You also have to have the expert track. That's where the capability is. You not only need leadership capability, but you need that digital engineering technology capability to be who you are as a company, to distinguish yourself and achieve your aspirations as a company. So high potentials, more and more companies, I think, should break it out into leadership and expert. I worked for a company years ago, a high-tech company, Digital Equipment Corporation, that was eventually purchased by Compaq, which was eventually purchased by HP. We had 8 or 9 people in the company, and they had a very simple job title, corporate consulting engineer. But these people were revered. They were looked up to because they were the top experts in technology. But these corporate consulting engineers, that track that they took, they did not have a staff of people, but they were compensated equivalent to an executive vice president. So the company saw the value in that expert track. I advise that more and more companies should be following that lead, just as my current company does. There's also another group of talent called, I refer to it as, you got the 1% hypos, which really, they're always assessed in high in ambition, which is good. Then you got maybe 20% that, they're just there day to day. They don't really care about the job. They're not really energized. But the bulk, the critical mass, the other 80%, I call them the loyal citizens, the solid citizens. And they need constant attention too, because that's where everything comes into play. Those are the ones who are bringing the value, the contribution to the company. They deserve the same amount of dignity and attention. I worked for a company not too long ago in the United Arab Emirates, where we operated in 22 countries, and the group CEO told me he wanted to start a project called the Top 100. Who are the top 100 talent below the vice president level? Because we had 30,000 people. He wanted to know who these people were. I actually advised against it because I thought it would have an adverse impact. Great for those 100, but what about the next 100 and the next 100 after that? There's not too much difference. Well, I lost my case, but there was tremendous adverse impact, tremendous pushback. It did more damage than good. The one thing that came out with the top 100 is we focused on retention. And I learned something about retention that cost the company nothing, zero. When we interviewed these people that were the top 100 about what it takes for them to stay, there were two things consistently. One was they were all nominated and selected because they had a reputation of coming through and driving a result on a very critical, high visible challenge in the past. They loved that, and they always remember that opportunity. They wanted more. So the first thing to retain them, give me more challenges. Imagine that, free of cost. The second thing is every once in a while, a little pat in the back. Two things that cost nothing and have dramatic effect in retention, and it was a consistent theme that we heard from the interviews. The other notion I want to talk about talent management comes from a title of a book, and the title says it all. Talent is Overrated, by an author named Jeff Colvin. And what he says is that talent, it's not talent, it's the hard work. It's what he called deliberate practice. He gave the example of Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, he just didn't all of a sudden become a great golfer. His father had passion for golfing. His father was his personal coach and drove him. Now, what was natural is Tiger loved it. He loved the sport. But Tiger practiced, deliberate practice, constantly, every day, repetitions, and it made people say, what a great talent. The same thing with Mozart. Mozart just didn't start playing the piano at 4 years old. His father was a well-known musician, and his father coached him day after day, and Mozart also had love and passion for the music, and he became a great talent because of his focused and deliberate practice. So we always talk about talent, but we forget about things that we can control. And you know what those things are we can control? Hard work, attitude, practice, 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 doing your homework. Children that do their homework get good grades. Professionals that do their homework or stay ahead and prepare for a meeting do well. Continuous learning, being coachable, driving for results. Those are the things that we can control. And I think that, to me, are much more important than someone who's designated talent. And the bottom line, after all those things we can control, I still come back to the one word: integrity. Got to have integrity with all those things, because that's the opposite of arrogance or being too bold, which is a derailer for people in management. Finally, I'm going to end it with some of my favorite quotes. You may have heard this before, but Roger Enrico, former chairman of Pepsi, he said, "As chairman, I have two jobs. The first is to grow the business. The second is to identify people who will help me achieve objective number one." Doug Conant, former CEO of Campbell's Soup, he said, "To win in the marketplace, you must first win in the workplace." And finally, two authors, Ram Charan and Larry Bossidy. Larry Bossidy is a former executive at GE and became chairman of Honeywell. They wrote a few books together, and I remember one of their quotes that says, "In the end, you bet on people, not strategies." Thank you very much. Sorry for the lengthy video. If you like it, let me know. Any comments, let me know. I'll be happy to reply. Thank you all. See you next time.